Hello. Now we're going to discuss Step 2 of the Manage Classes program, assigning students to a class. Before we begin this, I want to mention that it is very important before beginning this step that you have already created the student list for your current school year. Creating a student list is discussed in Section 4.1 of the Reneel System Administration Manual, and it means you must create a file called student_list.csv that lists all of the current students that will be in your classes. Once you have done that, though, you can begin this step of assigning students to a class. This is something that you need to do just at the beginning of the school year, and you need to do it for each of your classes, but you can always add or remove students later if you need to. So we're going to open the Manage Classes program by coming down to the Start button, selecting Office, and opening Manage Classes. And we'll see that menu that we worked with before. This time I'm going to choose Assign Students, and remember I can either click here or I can click on the tab up here. I'm going to select some of the classes that I created in our first module and assign students. The first one I'm going to do that for is for my grade 7 math class with section blue. So I'm going to choose my teacher account. In the example, I use Teacher 1. Now I'm going to select my class name, and when I click this, you'll see the 5 classes that I created in Module 1. So I'm going to click Math 7 Blue. Once I've done that, the Add Remove Students button is highlighted. I'm going to click that button, Add or Remove Students, and again you'll notice when you hover your mouse over a button, it will give you a description of what to do. I'm going to click that button and it will open another window. I can select the grade, grade 7, and section blue. Now when I do that, I'll see all of the students from section blue that I've already encoded in my student list show up here. Now I want to select all of the students in grade 7 blue for my math class. So I can do that by clicking the Select All button. And you'll notice when I do that, a check mark shows up in every student in section blue. That means all of the students have been selected. Now I can click OK, and I'll see that they've been added over here to my class entitled Math 7 Blue. So they're all there now. And once I've done that, I can click Save, and it's very important again to always click the Save button. If you click Cancel or close a window with the X up here, this will not be saved. So I will click Save, and now I have assigned students to my class Math 7 Blue. So I'm going to do that for one more class where the students all come from the same section. I'm going to click Assign Students. This time I'm going to select my Math 9 Yellow. So I click Math 9 Yellow, Add or Remove Students, and now I'm going to choose Grade 9, Section Yellow. And again, when I do that, I see all of the students show up. I click Select All, OK, and then Save. Now, for those of you in Tanzania, it will look very, very similar, except when you are choosing the students, you will use form and stream rather than grade or section that is used in the Philippines. So now I'm going to show you something a little different. What we're going to do now is we're going to assign students to my ICF grade 7 class. Now students in ICF 7 are going to have students from the blue and the pink sections, and it's not going to be all students. It's just going to be a few students. So I choose again my teacher name, my class name, and I click Add or Remove Students. So I'm going to go first to grade 7, section blue. And I'm going to identify the students that are in my ICF grade 7 class. So it's not all of the students, it's just some of the students. So to do that, all I have to do is click on the name of the student that is in the class. So for example, I'm going to choose this student. And you notice when I click the student's name, the checkbox shows up. So I'm going to click a few students here. And when I'm finished selecting my students from that section, I click OK. When I do that, I see that those students are added over here in my ICF grade 7 class. Now I'm going to add the students from the pink section. And it's very similar to what we just did. I click Add or Remove Students. I click my grade and I click my section, except this time I'm going to choose pink. And now the students in section pink show up, and again I can choose the students that are from section pink in my ICF grade 7 class. To do that, again, I just click on their names. Now please note, if you click on the checkbox, nothing happens. You must click on the name of the student to highlight it, and you will know you have done it correctly when a check mark shows up. Now if you choose a student and you make a mistake, you can just click that student again and the check mark will go away. So I'm going to check a few more students here. And again, when I'm finished selecting everybody, I click OK. And you'll notice that now the pink students have been added to my class. Now we're going to talk about adding and removing students. So this might happen later in the school year if a student drops out of school, changes a section, or you might need to add a student. Maybe a student transfers in from another high school. Now please note that before you do this step, you must add the student to the studentlist.csv file as described in section 4.1 of the System Administration Manual. For now, I'm just going to remove a student and then add that student back in to show you how to do this. So we click Assign Students, and I am going to choose my Math 9 yellow class, and I'm going to go ahead and click Add and Remove Students. So I must select that. Now I want to remove this first student, for example, who's in grade 9 yellow. So I'll need to go to grade 9, section yellow. And you'll notice all of the check marks for the students already in that class. So if I want to remove that first student, I'm going to click their name, and you'll notice the check mark goes away. And if I say OK, I can see over here that that student is now removed from the class. And I click Save, very important to complete the operation. Now let me go ahead and add that student back in. So suppose that student transferred in and I've added them to my student list. So I go to Assign Students. So I'm going to add Remove Students from grade 9, section yellow. Now you'll notice that student is not at the top of the list. We have to scroll down to the bottom to find that student here. But when I click on their name, I see the check mark again. I click OK, and they're added back into the list. And I can save it. Now let me show you an example from my ICF class. So suppose I wanted to add a student from the white section. So I'm going to choose ICF, and I'm going to choose Add or Remove a Student. I can choose grade 7, section white, and I can choose the student I want to add. And when I say OK, they're added now at the bottom of my list, and I can click Save. Similarly, I can remove students in the same way. So for example, if I wanted to remove one of the students from the pink section, I click Add Remove. I go to the right grade and section, and I can see the students that are in there are checked, so I can uncheck them by clicking on their name, say OK, and they're removed from my list. So it's very, very easy to add and remove students. All you need to remember is to make sure you click this button, Add Remove Students, and then select the grade and section of the student that you want to either add or remove. So that's the end of our module on assigning students. Next we'll go to Create Assignments, step 3 of the process. Thank you.